Hello class, today we're going to learn about the Bad Boy and His Violin by Gavin Curtis and illustrated by E.B. Lewis. Can you tell me some of the predictions that what you think that this book may be about today? A violin? The little boy playing a violin? Okay. All right. All right, what do you think of some of the predictions that this may be? Okay. All right, we're going to read a little bit about the bad boy and his violin, okay? All right, again, the bad boy and his violin. This book is in memory of Mrs. Daisy D. Hooper, whose music still chases away my jitters, away from my jitters, to the heroes of Negro Leagues, EBL. I shave my bow across the violin strings the way a mosquito skims a summer pond, with hardly any mistakes. Tchaikovsky fills the living room of our house on Tyler Road. When the back door slams and metal cleat stops onto the kitchen floor, I know Papa is home. Is it Reginald at it again? He shouts between notes. Hush up, Mama says. I just love this one. Cooped up inside all the time, it's a wonder that boy don't sprout mushrooms. I try to play louder than Papa's voice by sawing the music hard. He sometimes come home in a bad mood because he's the manager of the Dukes, the worst team in the Negro National League. So far, the 1948 season has been the toughest yet. Papa's even having trouble booking games the team is likely to lose. He says it's because all his best hitters and fielders are going over to play for white teams, the way Jackie Robinson did last year. What do you think when Mom said about he's cooped up all inside all the time? It's a wonder that boy don't sprout mushrooms. What do you think that she might be saying about that? That he's staying in one place? I will agree. That he's going to have dirt up on his feet? I agree about that too. Let's read on. It says, you know our baby wants to be in a famous orchestra someday. Mama says following Papa into the living room. Well, right now the Dukes could use a bad boy, and I think it'll do Reginald some good to get out the house. We'll get him a uniform and everything. I stopped playing. What about my practice? I asked. Don't you remember I have a recital next month in the basement at church? You can rehearse tween innings. 10 into bats don't take up no whole lot of time. Papa pretends to swing one at an invisible pitch. Anyway, you do a good job, and I'll let you have your fiddle recital right here. I smile because our living room is bigger than the church basement. I prefer to call it a violin. I say, Papa doesn't hear. He's too busy admiring the trophy cabinet. Heck, Papa says, this might even aspire to become a ball player the way your old man was. Let's look back over this here. What do you think about Reginald? What do you think about what do you think of an orchestra is? A band? What does a band consist of? A lot of instruments? Yes, it does. Good job. Let's read on some more. What do you think about, first of all, if we move on, what about the basement? What do you think a basement is? Yeah, he did say the basement, that his house is bigger than the basement in the church. Yes. Let's look at it. See? Mom and Dad. Original. Okay. The next morning, I arrive with Papa and the Dukes to Cleveland on the team's rickety old bus. We get to the field for our game against the Buckeyes, and the bleachers are already packed with their fans. Look at that bus. Do you ride today on the school bus? Or have you ever ridden on a school bus before? It's yellow, true. Wasn't this color, was it? No. Okay. Mr. Force, the shortstop, is the first one up. I want to do a good job, so I bring him 6 bats to choose from. It's too many, and they roll out my hands and make Mr. Force stumble like he's skating on ice. He lands flat on his backside, making the crowd howl like they've just seen a circus clown performance. One at a time, boy. Papa's face is all crinkled. Mr. Force gets up and misses the ball 3 times. Nobody else falls, but the next 2 outs come quickly. The Dukes take the field, and I notice some bats are scuffed from Mr. Force's cleats. I remember the polish I use on my violin, and I buff the bats clean with a towel until they shine. I lean them with the others, evenly in a row against the fence, standing beside them ready for when it's the Dukes' turn to bat again, praying nothing more goes wrong. You see it? Yes, that's Mr. Forrest on the ground. Yes, it is. Have you ever fallen before on the ground like that? He was pushed. Okay. I fell on the ground once before myself. It was ice. It hurt too. See the pictures here? Okay, I'm going to read the next one. All right. Starting to get the hang of it, ain't you? Papa says, yep. I say rockin' heel to toe and toe to heel. Mr. Mosley, the third baseman, tips his cap because I hand him a bat. When he swings at the pitch, the bat slips out of his hand and misses the umpire's head by no more than an inch. I pass out the bats. Papa says that the umpire has calmed down. Papa grumbles under his breath because the umpire makes him rub dirt on each bat. Can I help? I ask. Why don't you relax a spell on the bench? I'll give you a chance to fiddle. You mean violin? Just keep it low. Lord knows I don't need nothing making my headache worse. Papa takes his cap off and uses it to wipe the sweat from his face. In this sentence here, so why do you relax a spell? What do you think that means? Yeah, spelling a word is one, but one relaxing, it just means sit down for a while. That's correct. All right, let's move on to the next. I play Swan Lake the way I feel, sad and quiet. But I'm not clumsy with my violin. I'm careful, glancing only one time at the music I know by heart. In the last measure, I pull my bow slowly to hold the final note long. That sure was something pretty, says Mr. LaRue, the center fiddler who is waiting on deck. Kind of makes the hairs on the back of my neck do a jig. Thank you, I say, a little embarrassed that anyone had listened. What do you think when he said that it made his hairs on the back do a jig? Yes, dance is what it is. Correct. Here he is. Everyone standing around. Yep. All right. You're up, LaRue, Papa calls. His headache must have disappeared because a smile crosses his face. How about doing a jig with that bat and getting a hit? As Mr. LaRue steps up to the plate, I start to play again. He lets the first pitch go past him, but swings hard on the next. Run! Papa yells because Mr. LaRue sends the ball toward the outfield. Before he can reach first base, the ball leaves the park. He takes his time and does kind of a hop around the field while I play until he gets back to the home plate. See, I'm sorry. See it? Make him feel. Yes. Good job. Good job. All right. Mr. Irvin, the catcher, bats next, and I play Mozart. And the same thing happens again. It happens with the left fielder, the second baseman, and the third baseman, too. I'm bushed by the ninth inning, but the Dukes have beaten the Buckeyes 7-4. It's the first game they win in months. Ain't this a talented boy, Papa says, and massages my arms instead of the pitchers. How do you think Papa feels now? Yes, he does feel happy. He feels happy because why? His team has won, exactly. Do you think that, what you think the predictions are about him playing the fiddle or playing the violin at the game? Yes, I will agree. It does. Yes, it does. It helps them to play better. Yes. Okay. Okay. Each day I like being the bat boy more than the last. Papa handles the bats and he lets me play my violin as much as I want. Besides that, the Dukes have stopped losing. I haven't seen Papa this happy since he was a player. 3 weeks into our winning streak, Papa makes an important announcement. We got us a game with the Monarchs. I'm the only one not cheering, so I ask, are they any good? Any good, he says. Why, they're the best colored team there is. I thought we were, I say. If we beat the Monarchs, we will be. Folks are saying now that baseball becoming integrated. The Negro Leagues won't be around forever. The season's coming to an end, and this might be the Duke's last chance to make a real mark, make a name for ourselves. Papa lifts me up onto his shoulder. Good thing we got us a gifted little bat boy. Everybody's happy. Yes, they are. With a little bat boy. Yes. Okay. So next. The night before the big game, Papa can't find a hotel in town that will accept the Dukes. We don't exactly cotton to colors, sleeping in our beds, one white clerk says. Y'all gonna have to look elsewhere. Thank you kindly just the same, Papa says, tipping his hat. I reckon our bus will do us fine. We park on the field outside the stadium. Mr. LaRue grills catfish and corn on the cob. After dinner, fancying their chances of winning the pennant makes the team too jittery to sleep. So I play them a lullaby. Mama sometimes hums to me before bed. Reginald, Pop says, when the sound of a snore joins the sounds of crickets, you got a knack. The food clerk should have learned your pretty fiddling. Violining, I tell Papa before falling asleep on his belly. Then gathered around the fire. Oh. The next day, the sun is high and little shade can be found once the game is going into extra innings. I play my best, but nothing seems to work, at least not for the Dukes. I play Beethoven and Mr. Forrest and Mr. Mosley both hit balls that seem to fly right back in the pitcher's glove. I play Mozart and Mr. LaRue is tagged out at home. But when I play Bach with the game tied, 2 outs and Papa very nervous. Mr. O'Neill from the Monarchs knocks a high curling wallop into deep left field. I stop playing just in time to see the ball easily clear the fence. The Dukes lose, 18-17. That was a close game. It was. Son, Papa said. Papa finally says on a quiet ride home, play something happy. He takes the violin down from the baggage rack and hands it to me. We could all use a little cheering up. I was afraid you wouldn't like my music anymore. I twisted pegs and make sure it's tuned. Of course, I still like your music. Papa sits in his seat and puts me on his lap. It sure helped us get a lot further than I thought we could without our best players. Shoot, when I shut my big mouth and listen, I love what I heard. I love you, though, most of all. Win or lose, Negro leagues or not, ain't no ball game ever going to change that. I love you too, Papa. I hug him and then play the minute waltz over and over again. How you think Papa felt for his son playing it? Yes, he felt happy. What you think a waltz is? True. Can be slow. In this situation, apparently it was fast. Okay. All right. The week later, baseball season over, and at last I perform my recital. The only sound heard through our house on Tyler Road is the softness of a Schubert sonata with no mistakes. Mama, Papa, the Dukes, and their wives fill the first 4 rows of our crowded living room. You folks must be right proud of Reginald. I hear Mr. LaRue whisper, he sure plays a powerful fiddle. Papa smiles and puts his arm around Mama. Sure does, he says. Chip, we prefer to call it a violin. This is him playing. You see it? Yes. What do you think would have been the outcome if he wouldn't have played the violin? Or Daddy wouldn't have let him be the boy, been the bad boy? How would you think he'd have felt? They might have won. That's true. Do you think the music brought more to the game that made everyone more happy than what they were? Yes. How do you think you'd have felt if you'd have been asked to be the bad boy or the bad girl? What is your talent? You like to sing, okay? You like to play the baritone. Okay. You like to play the keyboard, okay? So if you was asked to come along and bring all those, would you bring them to class or bring them on the trip to the baseball game? Great. There's a lot of blame to go around, but we have to stand up and take responsibility for our own bullshit. Some of the words that we look at in here one was orchestra. Looked at that. What do you think about that, Will? Recital. What do you think the recital was? A performance. Good job. Yes, most people do have piano recitals. I do agree. Some people asking, what's the controversy? What did Denzel say was controversial? Well, part that was controversial was that in the interview with the New York Daily News. Well, thank you, class. Saying that that you can't blame the system for mass incarceration. That he says I can't blame the system. I do agree. He said it starts at home. And so, he did make his parents proud. Effectively, I think, so the conservatives, good job. The conservatives said, oh, look,